Hey everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a list of 5 pieces of gear that I use very regularly as a live performer, somebody who performs solo acoustically every single week. And they're 5 pieces of equipment that I almost guarantee you that most live performers don't utilize all 5 of these things yet. And hopefully after this video, if you are somebody who's interested in performing live or somebody who currently plays live, this can definitely make your life easier and have you come off as more professional. Now, once again, the idea of this video, even if you are somebody who hasn't even stepped on stage or performed live yet, that's totally fine. The goal is, and the whole goal of this channel really, is to ensure that if that is something that you ever want to do, or maybe you want to step in the world of live performing, that you're ready for it. You know, that's the idea of this channel, and I want to give as much good information as I can to you guys every single week and every single video that I put out. So that's going to be the goal of today's video. And really quick, before we dive right into today's video, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, just make sure to subscribe. It does help us a ton. It does support us too directly if you want to support us today, since I'll be coming out with more content every single week moving forward. All right, the very first piece of equipment that I want to talk about today that a lot of live performers maybe haven't considered yet because they haven't run into this problem, or maybe it just hasn't crossed your mind, and it's going to be weighted sandbags. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, right? Or very random, I should say. But here's the deal. Just recently, I had actually performed 2 outdoor shows, and on both occasions, I live in the Southwest. During this time of year, it gets really windy and a bit stormy in the evening time. So with my gear, what I always want to ensure is that nothing's going to get knocked over. So one thing that I highly recommend, especially in case you guys play outdoor shows, you know, it might not be stormy or rainy, but it might be windy. I would definitely make sure that you have some sort of sandbags, and they're very cheap to get off Amazon. I got some, I'll put a photo up above. And it's really simple. You just fill up some bags with sand or rock and you just keep it in your car. Basically keep it in your emergency bag. If you have an emergency gigging bag, I would definitely keep it in there. And I have 2 of them. I have one that weighs down the microphone stand, so I feel really secure that way. And I also have one that weighs down the PA speaker and the PA speaker stand. And my PA speaker is pretty heavy. I don't think it's going anywhere, but it just kind of eases my mind in that situation. So the very first thing that I wanted to add to have you guys consider, just in case that ever happens, or maybe you have your first outdoor gig coming up, you know, they're inevitable. I would definitely highly recommend getting some cheap weighted sandbags or some sort of weight system to hold down your gear in case of wind. Okay, the next thing that I wanted to include on today's list is something that's really important and I definitely recommend everybody have. If I could probably put the number one thing that I think everybody should have right away, like purchase it today, put it in your gigging bag, is going to be a battery checker. Now, this is going to be ideal. I've had a lot of scenarios where before every show, I like to check my battery. It's just a habit. It takes 2 minutes, not even maybe 1 minute. And it really makes a big difference. So again, because I play solo acoustic, you know, I have a 9-volt battery in the guitar. I always just want to check where it's at. If it starts to get pretty low, I don't even risk it, especially if I have to play 2 sets or 3 sets. I just change out the battery. And the way that I know that it's okay or that I need to throw it out is the battery checker. So this is the one that I use. You can find any one you'd like on Amazon. They're very affordable. I've only bought this one. I've been gigging for about 4 years now. I use it before every show and it's worked great. So I highly recommend that you have that in case of obviously emergency, but just again, to ease your mind. You know, with all of these pieces of gear, it's really about making life easier as a live performer. You know, maybe you start off brand new. Maybe you're watching this video and you played a couple of gigs and maybe you get 1 gig a month or 2 gigs a month. That's awesome. But eventually what's going to happen if you stick with it is you're going to start getting booked a bit more often. And you're going to start noticing that having just more sense of security during shows, you know, obviously with your gear is super important. So obviously that's what all of today's gear is going to be about. All right, up next is going to be a specific cable, a cable that you can play music off of your phone during set breaks. Now, my first year playing live, I really just played maybe 1 or 2 venues every single month. So I wasn't playing live too much and they didn't really care. But as you start playing more, especially higher end places or different scenarios, maybe private events, they might ask you if you could also, instead of just playing live music when you play live music, you know, during your set or your sets, if you could also play music off of your phone so that there's no dead silence, I guess. And it's really easy to do. I simply use 1 cable. I highly recommend you look into this. It's 1 cable and I use a mini Yamaha mixer. I'll link that up above. And with this 1 cable, I'm able to play music during my set breaks. Simply plug in my phone. I have a little attachment for my phone and turn up the volume on the mixer board, and it's done. It takes 10 seconds and it's so easy. And again, I've actually mentioned this to other places that I've played and seen if that's something that they want me to do. And almost every single time they do, they want it. And they're a little bit surprised because most musicians that they have don't do that, or they don't mention it. So that's how I kind of know that a lot of people aren't really taking advantage of this idea, but it's something really great to have. And that also leads me to a really quick side note. If you don't use a mini mixer on stage, especially as a solo acoustic performer, I would recommend looking into that. I would do some research, learn how to use it. It's a great tool. I do talk about that in other videos. I'll link that up above as well so you can check that out. But again, when it comes down to it, I have a live music playlist on my phone. During my set breaks, I simply turn it on using one cable and it plays out of the speaker, and I have total control over the volume. So I highly recommend, if you don't or aren't already doing that, I would highly recommend you do. Okay, up next is going to be probably the most costly thing on this list, but again, I can't really imagine not having it. And I don't use it at every show. I actually use it at probably half the venues that I play, just based off of the load in and load outs situation, if I can, if I can't. And that's going to be a gigging cart, or a cart to haul your gear. And it's such a time saver. It really does take a lot of load off of you. Instead of having to carry in 5 or 6 trips of your own gear in and out, it can get really taxing. I do that all the time. But if you have a cart, you can limit that to one. Again, you can roll in all your gear in one shot, maybe 2 shots, and it just saves a ton of time. One thing that I would mention though is I would think of it as an investment, definitely. I wouldn't go the cheap route. If you find one online and it's like $60, I wouldn't go that route. I think it's going to be cheap and flimsy and smaller than you might think. The one that I bought, to be honest, I don't know exactly how much it was. I think it was between $200 and $300. I think closer to 200, but it's great. It's heavy duty wheels. It collapses, and I keep it in my car. It's super simple to use. And I will show a photo of the exact one that I have, and if you guys want to check that out. But yes, I keep it in my car. It's foldable. And one thing that's really nice is I load up my gear a certain way, and then I use bungee cords to basically stabilize it, and I wrap the cart in that. So it's a really simple way of kind of loading up your gear, getting it all in one shot. And if it's super rainy outside, if you want to go the route where you put a tarp over the top, I mean, there's so many reasons to have it. So if you think of it as an investment, I highly recommend you take a look at it. It's not a need, but it sure does take a lot of the load off of you as somebody who's got to bring in a lot of gear over every single show. All right, the final piece of equipment that I highly recommend that you have as a live performing musician is going to be a QR reader sign for tips. Now, I think nowadays it's pretty common to have that. Most performing musicians will, but if you don't, if you're just accepting, physical cash in a tip jar, I think we got to go above that now a little bit. It's great to have that, but you also want to have the virtual route. So one thing that I would do is I actually bought a sign. I customized it off of, I believe it was Etsy, and I think it was like $45, and I had a custom sign made. And it's not huge, but it comes with a little stand, and I use it on another stand, so it's kind of propped up nicely. And it looks like this. So people are able to tip me through Venmo, follow me on social media on both Instagram and Facebook. And again, it kind of just catches the eye. It doesn't have to be a massive sign. I mean, you can go that route, but the thing is if you are a solo acoustic performer or you want to go that route, there's going to be a lot of instances where you're not going to have much space to set up, and definitely not enough space to put up a massive sign. Sometimes you might, but in a lot of cases you won't. So I kind of went the smaller route, but it's actually worked really well. And you don't just have to put Facebook and Instagram. You could do Cash App, whatever you want to do, but it's really nice to have a custom sign made because people can definitely tip you and show support that way. And most people don't really carry, I'd say more often than not, a lot of people don't carry cash these days like they used to. So nowadays it's like they can just take out their phone, scan the sign, and it'll take them right to Venmo, for example. So it's just a great thing to have if you're not already doing that, or if you're new to live gigging, I would jump on that right away. I wouldn't wait on that. I would definitely have a physical tip jar and a virtual sign that takes people right to your social media so that they can follow you and tip you. All right, I hope you guys liked today's video. Again, whether or not you are a performer now, maybe you're interested, or you've been performing for a while. I know some of my subscribers are live solo acoustic performers as well, and that's awesome to see. Again, these videos are typically meant for you guys to be, obviously something that I can explain, teach, and show you guys what I do, what I like to do. And I like to learn from you guys as well. So if you guys have any questions or you guys want to make a comment on anything on this video, make sure to comment, leave a like. And if you haven't, again, subscribed, just make sure to subscribe since I'll be coming out every single week with more content moving forward.